Hi, I'm glad you stopped by. I have an urgency. This urgency is to make sure that the 7 points of present truth are gotten out and posted here on YouTube. I did find a little updated information and a little research behind what was going on with YouTube, and all they were doing is to update the language in their terms of service. And they can and will at any time, whenever they want, remove your channel if you're not making money for them when or if they decide to do that in God's providence. So I need to do my part, and that's the point here. We just finished doing a video on the atonement, and that's in the counterfeit, showing where the a large portion of the counterfeit spirit of prophecy, the Conflict of the Ages series, has quite a large number of references which clearly place Christ as making the atonement on the cross. Now, that is a Protestant belief, and we don't know where all that came from. I have I believe it's a first edition Desire of Ages, and it's in there. And so that's an interesting point. Take a look at that. That's, I believe it's video number 7 in the Counterfeit Spirit of Prophecy playlist. Okay, we have there's several lies of Satan. It's just laced throughout the counterfeit, and I highly recommend that you do not study that material. We do not know the effect of some of the words and the arrangement of sentences, that kind of thing. We do not know totally the effect of those on the human mind, but we do know that humans in these last days are highly susceptible to Satan's devices, and Satan has 100 times greater power to deceive now than when he deceived the angels in heaven. I highly recommend that you take a look at that video and the counterfeit playlist. We're going to comment and we're going to show where 10 times in the counterfeit spirit of prophecy, the counterfeit has actually tried to take Christ out of the most holy and putting back in the holy place. And we're going to demonstrate that for you shortly. But first we're going to finish out. We have just done the Sabbath, and now we're going to be doing the sanctuary. And we're going to focus on 5 more points of present truth. There are 7 total that I know of. And these are the points that we need to be united on. There should be no question about these points. So I'm not going to give a real in-depth study on these points, but it's going to be more of a summary. And you'll pick that up when we get into this one here and get done with it. So we're going to be reading from James White out of Life Incidents on the Sanctuary right here. As you can see, this is taken from Life Incidents, page 307 and 309. The reading is awesome, in my opinion. Please make sure that you get this book. It is very inexpensive, less than $30 from your local ABC, or you can buy it online. Okay, James White is writing, and he says, again, the sanctuary was the heart of the typical system. It was the repository of the ark of God, in which ark his law was deposited. By this law, the people had the knowledge of sin. It was also the place where they, in figure, found pardon for their sins through the offerings there made. This entire system, with its great center, the sanctuary, was but the shadow of the realities of the present system of salvation. The shadow was on earth. The reality is in heaven. The facts are stated by the apostle in few words. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the Majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle, which the Lord pitched and not man. That's Hebrews 8:1 and 2. The sanctuary of the new covenant, which is in heaven, is the great heart of the plan of redemption. There, Christ offers his blood for the sins of men. In the real tabernacle, there are two holies, if there were two in the shadow. In the holiest is the ark of God, containing the 10 precepts of his law, if they were in the holiest of the shadow. Here is a theme worthy of the attention of all Christians, and it is one in which they should feel the deepest interest, as each has a case of eternal consequence pending there. The work of cleansing this sanctuary at the close of the 2300 days is a subject which should materially interest all Adventists. It pertains to the confession, pardon, and blotting out of sins. A correct and intelligent faith sees the adorable Redeemer in the most holy of the true tabernacle, offering his blood before the mercy seat for the sins of those who have broken the law of God beneath it in the ark. True faith reaches within the second veil, where Jesus and the ark of God are seen. There, by the law, we have the knowledge of sin, and through the blood of Jesus we may find pardon and share eternal redemption. The subject of the cleansing of this sanctuary, then, is now of most thrilling interest, especially to all Adventists. It is the key to the great Advent movement, making all plain. Without it, the movement is inexplicable. Seventh-day Adventists dwell upon this subject with great delight. It opens to them the ark of God, in which is seen the 10 precepts of his law. They keep them. It presents Jesus before the mercy seat, ready to plead the cause of sinners, who, in the spirit of penitence and confession, go to him for help. They love and seek to obey him, so that it is said of them, "Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." They treat upon the subject of the sanctuary in their sermons and books, and find a place for it among the symbols of prophecy upon their charts. Seventh-day Adventists cannot spare the subject of the sanctuary, as it is the great center around which all revealed truth relative to salvation clusters, and contributes more toward defining their present position than any other. but nominal Adventists treat the subject as one of no interest or importance to them. Having in their own hearts abolished the Ten Commandments, they have no use for the ark of God and cast it aside as an antiquated and unfashionable piece of furniture. And I would comment here at this point that we have, my whole time in the church, I never really heard sermons on the sanctuary and that process. And that is where the Seventh-day Adventist Church is of today. It says, their sermons and their printed essays and expositions do not refer to the cleansing of the heavenly sanctuary unless it be to oppose the views of Seventh-day Adventists and ridicule them and ignorantly and contemptuously talk of heaven being dirty and needing cleansing. And, as in the case of the three angels, you do not find the sanctuary represented upon their prophetic charts. And of course, this is not necessarily true of Seventh-day Adventists, but it was true back in 1868 when James White was publishing this book. And today, and this is the whole point of my presentation, is this material has been stolen from you by simply ignoring it. We continue. But these we value above all earthly good and make them prominent in all our religious teachings, because the truth of God for this time or present truth is in them. And for this reason, those who call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, cast this subject from them as unworthy of their notice, unless it be to oppose, denounce, and ridicule. God bless your study.